I remember like that night I had like $60 of funny money, and I said, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. And I see this guy walk out of these, again, I call it the casino, but it were these containers. And I was like, hey man, you got any meth? He's like, yeah, I got it for you. And I handed him the fake 40, and he handed me the dope. And like before he could like even like really look at the money, I started just running away. And he didn't even say anything. He like I just assumed he knew it was fake. I just turned around and ran, and he was like, all right. And he got in his car and left. And I just remember hiding in a bush for like 3 hours thinking this guy was gonna come back and kill me. 3 hours. And I literally was just hiding there in this bush down the street from these like these containers. It was just, I just think about that. I'm like, how did I end up from working in the hospital as like as an ICU nurse to hiding in a bush, paranoid that this guy's gonna kill me. Yeah. So yeah, that was just a weird. It was just weird, man.
Yeah, no, it is
Weird, just weird stuff, man. I never overdosed. No, never need to be Narcan again. I was doing methamphetamine, and towards the end there, I didn't have a long stint with opioids. Fentanyl wasn't really around when I was getting loaded. I was mostly just black tar, and no, I never overdosed. Yeah. The rock bottom, I was in a motel room, and I was in a motel room again. I was all by myself. I had a bag of dope, and I was an IV drug user, and I was using the drugs. I was getting high, but I wasn't getting high. Like the drugs weren't working anymore, and I just had this overwhelming feeling of just doom still. Something that the drugs were so good at taking away. Like the drugs always took this feeling away of like me feeling like I didn't have purpose. When I got high, I felt like I had purpose, and then when I was coming down again, my purpose was to get high, right? So when I was getting high in this motel room, it wasn't working like it always has, and it terrified me. And I said, well, this is it. I said, if the drugs don't work, I have nothing to live for anymore. And I just remember laying on my back, just crying, like wondering like how it got this bad, wondering if it was ever gonna get better. And I was just screaming out to God, like, God, please help me, you know? And to me, that was my rock bottom, because just the level of desperation that I was in at that moment, I never really had. And it was that, again, when I was like, I'm just gonna kill myself, and just something told me I'm gonna call my friend. Her name's Ariana, and she's the one that kind of gave me this talk of, try this. Yeah, so I was fortunate enough where, again, Ariana's father knew there's a Jewish treatment center in LA called Chabad, where I was able to go there. I did 4 months of residential there, and then I was able to go to a sober living out in Texas, and that really changed my life. Really having that type of structure of and accountability, and being like, look, this is how you're gonna do it, and this is how it's gonna be done, right? And that changed my life. And in that process is when I was able to get connected with, my understanding of a God and have a spiritual connection. And that really gave me a sense of freedom from myself, my thinking, my believing that I'm always gonna be this way, always thinking like, my mom's story is my story, holding on to all the resentments, all the pain. Like I was able to finally turn that over to something other than just me, right? Because I was the one holding on to it, and I didn't know where to put it. And so when I got connected with, I'm a firm believer of the 12 steps. When I got connected to the 12 steps, and that allowed me to have that spiritual connection and that freedom from myself, is really when I was able to like progress and feel better. Like that feeling of hopelessness just started to trickle. It just started to trickle away. Yeah. It's a tough one, because I feel like I'm giving out advice to these people a lot, and it's like they've heard it all before. It's like, what is it that I need to say to them that's going to be different this time, that's going to help them? But the advice that I give is that the help is out there. You just have to be desperate enough to accept that help. And how willing are you to get sober? It's like, what advice? It's like, I don't even know what advice. It's like, what advice do I give to people? It's just like, dude, you already know with the suffering that comes with drugs and alcohol, but you haven't given this a chance to see what it looks like to be sober. Of course it's going to be tough. It's a complete, 180 lifestyle change. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, right? No one says it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And you just got to stick around for that reward. And the rewards come in all different shapes and sizes. You're not going to be rewarded with, money. You're not going to be rewarded with the women. You're not going to be, with all these things. Eventually that may come, but you're going to be rewarded with a peace of mind, right? A sense of sanity, a sense of, accountability to be able to take care of yourself. Not having to worry where the dope's going to come from. Like, imagine waking up and not having to worry about getting dope. It's a cool feeling to have. Not having to think about it. It's really cool. And a lot of people, they just don't give themselves enough time to get to that point. We live in a society where it's like instant gratification. I need it now, now, now. And sobriety is a gradual thing. It is a gradual process.